Hoffman with Traffic Generation Cafe here, and today we're talking about schema markup, how to make your content more clickable and shareable, how to make it look better in search engine rankings, in other words. We can go from this, something drab like that, to this, something that looks much, much better, and that's what this video is all about. Now, the good news is marking up your content to help the search engines display it in the best possible way to attract more clicks is entirely in your hands. And even better news is that you can do it in just a few minutes with WP Social SEO Booster plugin. And in this video, I'll show you how. Now, if you're not familiar with schema markup or Google Rich Snippets and you need more background information, and you're not watching this video at Traffic Generation Cafe, you can visit the post. The link will be posted under this video to learn more. Meanwhile, let's take a walk through WP Social SEO Booster. So we installed and activated WordPress Social SEO Booster, and right now we are in the main site settings. You can get here by going into Settings and WP Social SEO Booster. So these are the settings that we set for the entire site, and we'll just take it one by one. The first two sections, general settings and performance settings, I suggest we leave alone until unless we're absolutely sure what we're doing. And I think it's safe to just leave it the way it is, which is unchecked. Going down, open graph settings. These are mainly Facebook settings, but it seems like Google does read some of the open graph settings as well, or open graph tags, I should say. So for both social media and search engine ranking displays, we will enable all these snippets. So we will first activate open graph, of course. We will add the Facebook app ID. Now, this is a little bit too much to go over in this particular video. So if you're not sure how to do this, you can either I'll have to make another video, or you can look up how to get a Facebook app ID. If you already have one but you're not sure, let me see if I can look up quickly. We'll go into developer or developers. There you go. developers.facebook.com/apps. That's the URL we're going to, and it will bring us right to the information for our app, and that's where we add our application ID. Now, Facebook admins. I know some of you Luddites out here, you know who you are. Oops, sorry about that. Couldn't figure out how to do this, but here's what we do. So Facebook admin ID is your ID that your Facebook account assigned to you when you first signed up for your page. Obviously, you most likely change that to something a little more manageable, like facebook.com/Traffic Generation Cafe. So in order for us to get this ID, it keeps bringing up my logins, we will have to go to this website listed right here, and it's graph.facebook.com/username. And instead of username, of course, you'll be using your personalized name for your Facebook page. So my Facebook ID would be Traffic Generation Cafe, so that's what I would enter in the search, and this is what I will see when I do that. And I just scroll down. We don't need any of this information except for this part that says ID. We simply copy and paste it right here, and we are done. Now come images. The next one is the place where we can add images that you always want Facebook to use whenever you post anything from your blog. I don't see why you would need to do that, because I hope you're using images in your blog posts to make them more interesting and more relevant and more eye-catching. So I would just leave this blank. Now, default image is very nice to have, simply because if your post happens to not have an image attached to it, or something goes wrong and Facebook cannot read it for whatever reason, WP Social SEO Booster can always fall back on this one. So I would definitely choose an image on your site. For instance, for me, I believe it's the graphic from my header. Oh, it's my mugshot. There you go. So I brand it with my face, which is absolutely fine. Another way would be to brand it with your logo as well. Now, content type. Here, I'll show you the drop-down menu. You have a few choices here, and generally speaking, you choose whatever your entire site is closest to. For instance, assuming that it's a blog that we're talking about, and it's a blog with a bunch of blog posts or articles there, you can choose a website markup, which is a very generic markup, or you can choose an article markup, and then every one of your pages will be marked up as an article. But then you have contact pages, disclaimer pages, categories, you name it. You have so many pages that are not really articles per se. So this is probably not the best choice for site-wide option. I would choose website here, and then each time you publish a post, you can change it to an article. So the rest of your pages will be marked up as website, and then article for your article pages. Now, homepage settings are for websites that do not have any SEO built in. Why does it do that? Any SEO built in their theme, or you don't use any SEO plugin of any kind. I find it very hard to believe. So for the most part, this will remain unchecked and not filled out. But if you need to, you can fill it out right here. And these are the tags that will apply to your homepage only. So we'll scroll down. As I said, we'll leave that blank. Now next comes Google Authorship Markup. Very important again. You may or may not have marked up your site for Google Authorship, but either way, it's very, very important. And SEO Booster gives you a chance to mark it up for both author and publisher. So here, homepage author, that would be me. So that's what I put in. In the drop-down menu, it will most likely give you the choices, and your name will be one of them. So this is where rel author tag goes. And now Google Plus Publisher, this is your page ID, not your personal profile, but your page. So the way we get to it is from your personal profile on Google Plus. We'll go under pages, and you need to choose the primary page for your site. Come on. And there it is. So I'm just going to copy and paste this part of URL that comes before posts. And that's what, let's close that. And that's what you need to enter under Google Plus Publisher. Now let's just save changes just in case. I love saving changes as I go. Now let's see. Star ratings is the next set of settings that would apply for the entire site. Now, if you're running a blog, I don't see any reason why you should have star ratings applied and activated for the entire site. It just makes no sense. And this wasn't checked by default. I did it as I was learning more about the plugin. So I'm going to uncheck all of this. I would say definitely use this very sparingly. I would reserve it for your review pages, product software pages, those kind of things that can be rated by stars, and your visitors will recognize why you're rating them the way you're rating them. So I would just leave this alone. So we'll save changes just because I made some, and then the last section, flush ratings. That's self-explanatory. If you need to reset the ratings, you just press flush now. And that's all there is to site-wide settings of WP Social SEO Booster. And now we'll move on to the posts, and I'll show you very quickly how to mark them up for on a post-to-post basis. Now I have to go back for a minute and clarify something that I said that I realized that was not entirely correct. That means actually it was 100% incorrect, but you'll ignore that part. Anyway, if we go back to, let's just scroll down to content type, and I told you that this content type sets up the markup for the entire site, which is correct if you use the Pro version of WP Social SEO Booster. We are using the light of the free version of it. So what happens here is that all your blog posts, all your content posts will be marked up, whatever you set here, but it won't mark up the entire site. So since we're using the free version, and this is a blog that we're working with, we will set content type as an article because most of the of my content are articles and I want them to be marked up as such. So we are going to choose articles for our blog posts, and then, as I said, we can change each one of these values individually for each post if that changes. So as I mentioned, in the Pro version, things will be just slightly different, and I will show them to you in a few minutes. Now let's see what the plugin looks like in action, shall we? We will go into posts, and let's say we want to create a new post. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to scroll down here just to show you the WP Social SEO Booster section. You can see, it has quite a few listings here, quite a few different ways that you can mark up your content according to what it is. So the general setting, of course, we do want it to be enabled. So we will leave no here, but if for some reason you do want to disable it for this particular post, you can. Now Open Graph is for Facebook mostly, and since we're not talking specifically about Facebook right now, but rather schema markups, we will leave this one alone, and we will do another video on how to mark up your content for Facebook. And by the way, it is being read by other social media platforms like Pinterest, and I've heard even Google dabs into it sometimes and pulls the information, so it's always good to fill that out, but not in this video. So the other markups that we can choose for any particular post is review, product, business, people, recipes, software, videos, and event. Again, the Pro version will have a couple of more categories, but this is a good start. Now, if I walk you through a couple of different settings here, you will notice one thing, that under some categories like product, it says that the rich snippets for products are only being added to the code and won't be displayed within your content. What does that mean? That means that some of these markups will actually display something in your content. So you just need to see the product one does not. Review doesn't say that. So it does display something in the content as well. And I will show you what that looks like in a minute. Business doesn't have that message. People doesn't. Recipes doesn't. Software doesn't. Videos does right here. And then events as well. So I walked you through that just to make a point. Then certain sections here, if you were to choose to, will also display information within your blog post as well. So the things here are very simple. Let's say if we're doing a review, which is very common, of course, among bloggers, because a lot of us make money as affiliate marketers. So let's see how we would mark up a review of any kind. And the way I'm going to show it to you is to go into a review that I have done as a sample. And this is my review. You can see it published already. Now, Zealistic is just a test site that I have right now. There's nothing there, but feel free to check it out. So here's the title, and here's the information that was input into, oops, doesn't want to do highlight nicely. So this is the information that I input into WP Social SEO Booster. Of course, I even got the name wrong here. I'll have to change that. So the more information you fill out, the better. See, I forgot to add the summary here, and it's blank, which is okay, but it is nice to fill out as many spaces as you can. So this is what will show up before your review. And this is how we get there. I'll just walk you quickly through the post and the markup that I have done. So we chose review, and then display position. I chose to do it at the top, but as you can see, you have 4 different choices. The product name would be WP Social SEO Booster in this case, but whatever product it is that you are marketing, that's where it goes. Now, product type, again, it says right here it's optional, but if you enter it, it will show up. In this case, it's WP plugin. Product version, optional. Author name is the name of the person who wrote the review. You can leave it empty if you are the only person who runs your site, and you by default is the author of pretty much all the posts here. If it's someone other than you, you can enter their name here. Date, same thing. The good thing about WP Social SEO Booster, among other great things, is the fact that it will pull out a lot of information from your post itself and from the SEO settings that you have already set for the post. So things like author name, date. If you forget about description, it might pull that as well. So it kind of plays with the settings that you already have. And by the way, if you have an SEO plugin enabled, like let's say WordPress SEO by Yoast or all-in-one SEO pack, any of those plugins, WP Social plays very nicely with them and integrates beautifully. So just to let you know. So the rating value, the all-important stars will go right in here. You choose on a scale of 1 to 5, of course. Again, product author. Every time you have an optional tag, you will see it right here, optional. Product link, this would be really your affiliate link if you're an affiliate, and product link if you're not. So, and then product price, in this case it's free, and then currency, and then summary. So once you publish your post, that's exactly what you will get in the post itself. While I'm waiting for it to save, so this site does not run on WP Engine and Genesis 2.0, so it's much slower than Traffic Generation Cafe. But nonetheless, here's the post, and here's the markup. So let's see now the markup for software. This is the example that I did, exact same markup. I just chose software for the category value. It's not really category, I just refer to it so that we're on the same page. So this is software markup, and as you can see, it allows you to add an image here and all the information that you see below as well. And it does add certain markup to your post as well, which makes it look very professional and very neat in my opinion. And as I said, not all snippets will be added to your post itself. For instance, if I do a product as a category, if I choose product, then there won't be any markups done in the post content itself, but it will be done behind the closed doors, so to speak. It will mark up the code so that Google can read it correctly. Now, in order to test our code, we will go into Google Rich Snippets tool to see what it looks like, how Google might see it when it lists our newly published posts in search engines. Now it's time to test our markup, and the best way to do it is to see how Google sees our content after it's been marked up the way we did. So we'll go into Google's Rich Snippets testing tool. It's also now called Structured Data Testing Tool. And if you don't know the URL, just Google Google Rich Snippets testing tool, and you will get right to this page. And I will try to remember to leave the URL under this video as well. So here, all we're going to do is, lost my post, basically copy the URL of the post that you want to test and paste it right here and hit preview. Now remember, this is a testing site, so not all things have been connected here, and that's why it says authorship is not working for this page, because I didn't actually connect it to my Google Plus profile. So, but other than that, if you can see that it says my title and the URL, of course, and then it has the 5-star rating here. In stars, as well as it says rating, it says that it has been reviewed by me, reviewed by Anna Hoffman, and the date, which it automatically extracted from the post. And then if we scroll down, we see a whole lot of markup here. For instance, let's see, we can see the schema.org review markup, the rating markup, and some other fields here that the plugin marked up without us having to do anything but choose a few fields as we published our post. And we can take a look at the markup for the other post as well if we so wish. Let's see, let's just test the software one and see what that looks like in potentially how that looks like, that might look like when the search engine users see our review in the search engine ranking pages. And again, this is software, so we have a 5-star rating here. We have the number of reviews, which is obviously ours is the first one, and then it's free, and then, you know, the description, the title, the normal stuff. So, and just to show you one more thing, let's disable Social SEO Booster, and then we will see what that looks like. Sorry, I should have went in the wrong place. As you can tell, I don't really have that many plugins here anyway. So we'll go back to Rich Snippet testing tool, and now that we have changed, we have deactivated, I should say, the plugin. Let's preview the listing. As you can see, everything, all the markup is gone, and now it's just back to the same blah listing that it would be without any schema markup. And before you run off to set up your own WordPress Social SEO Booster, let me show you a few features that SEO Booster Pro version offers. You can see the settings screen right here in front of you right now, and as you can see, it has a lot more options than the light free version does. Just to give you a comparison, here's what the free version looks like. It has a few settings, and then it tells you more about the paid plugins, which is absolutely fine, of course. And here's one more time the Pro version. It has a lot of different settings for Open Graph, which is Facebook version of Rich Snippets, as I already mentioned, Google, Twitter Cards, which is Twitter version of Rich Snippets, plus ratings, the same ratings that the free version has, and social sharing, which is very exciting for me because you can add social sharing buttons to your site instead of using yet another plugin that could potentially slow down your blog. You can simply use the ones that SEO Booster offers. Facebook recommendations bar as well. I should have probably shown you what it looks like, and if you give me a second, I will. Let's see my last weekly marketing skinny. which was a great one and a very long one too. Let me just scroll down. Oh, it showed up right here. Do you see in the bottom, let's see, is it my right or left? I'm sorry, right corner, in the bottom right corner, Facebook recommendations. And if I tweak with the settings a little bit, this will show up a little bit better. Let's see, let's go back to the settings. Again, so recommendation, Facebook recommendation bar. Then we've got Google Interactive Posts, which are a phenomenal feature that I set up last night. And just to give you an idea what it looks like, I just added an image to the post on Schema Markup, the same post that I'm making the video for. And here's a screenshot that I took yesterday of my Google Plus stream before I added Google Plus interactive posts. As you can tell here, before post looks pretty simple. So if anyone clicks on +1 button on your blog, this is what they will most likely share unless they're willing to add a description right up here, a comment I should say. So it will look a little bit better that way. But otherwise, that's it. With interactive posts, whenever somebody presses the +1 button on your post, this would automatically, if they don't do anything else at all, just hit share, this is what will be shared. So it's absolutely night and day. And you can probably see why I got all so excited yesterday about it. So let's just go back to the settings. Again, this is a huge upgrade from the free version. I'm sorry. And if the free version is all you're going to stick with, that's absolutely fine, because it will do most, if not all, schema markups that the pro version will do, just without all the social media bells and whistles that the pro version will do. But again, I highly recommend, after testing the Pro SEO Booster, I highly recommend you get it.